They have recalled all of the runway version B figures over here for manufacturing defects, so there will be a delay. I think they have to remake everything at this point. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven from Evergarden Studio. For today, we have the 5th, or is it the 6th, episode of which third-party resin figure brand is any good. So what I have been doing is spending 2 to 3 months compiling actual product pictures or user pictures from all over the internet, and then we have a look at these figures made by third-party brands, which one is good, which one to be aware of or to avoid, things like that. So it takes time to compile them. Though with pretty much every photograph I've gotten my hands on over here, they are coming from the administrators over at OSGK themselves, like 99% of them. So yes, OSGK is an affiliate partner of Evergarden for third-party resin figures. If you're interested in pre-ordering or purchasing anything, please make use of my affiliate links down in the comments below. It will help out this channel a lot. Okay, now for this first video of the year over here for third-party resin figure brands, I have about 120 images over here. Not that many figures actually compared to my previous video. We are looking at maybe 3 pictures for each figure, so maybe 25-30 figures maximum, because number one, as we all know what happens over in China, they are raiding all these third-party resin figure brands and their offices, their factories and so on, trying to search for loot stuff, and those are apparently illegal in China right now. And there are a lot of third-party brands out there where they are now making 2 different versions. The mainland Chinese, they can no longer buy the Hadaka version, the 18+ version anymore. Meanwhile, for us, the international customers, most of the time we are not affected. So that is one thing to take note. You might come across figure brands that announce we are making changes to this figure because of this new rule. Yes, that is indeed happening. Anyways, if you want to clarify anything, it is best to ask the store directly, the one you pre-ordered your figures from. So the first one over here from Akuma Studio, we have Makima from Chainsaw Man. And this figure, I couldn't find it in OSGK anymore. What does that mean? It means that they no longer take any orders. And yeah, even if you want one, you couldn't order that anymore because they couldn't get their hands on the stock, so they removed the listing. Okay, this one is obviously a realistic face figure, and I think the face over here, this is up to personal taste whether you like it or not. For me, obviously, no, I don't like the face at all. Even for a realistic face Makima figure, this does not look good at all. I would prefer something else by maybe Pepeho Studio, for example. Okay, so the rest of the figure actually looks great. The only problem is I am not a fan of the face over here. Oh, that tight bodysuit over there is freaking hot. I have to admit that. So yeah, in terms of paintwork and craftsmanship, I mean, we look at the fine details over here. All the silver paintwork right along the sides of her outfit, that is very nicely painted. I wish that I have closer up pictures. This is the best I have. The paintwork is good, just that the face, personal taste I suppose. And you can see some fine texture on the outfit. This is common for 1x4 scale resin figures and not something you'll find easily on genuine PVC figures at 1/6 or smaller. Look at the leather texture over here. Yeah, this is great stuff actually. So from far, it kind of looks like but then when you take a closer look, you'll see the kind of detail that you'll never find on genuine anime figures that are smaller, the PVC figures I mean. Alright, so moving on to the next one. This is a very good one from Alice21 Studio. We have Honkai Stariel Yunli. Okay, this is turning out excellent. Right, my focus here is on the face. So if you want to know whether this face is accurate or not compared to the official product pictures, the listing is still on OSGK. Though you can't pre-order it anymore, it is sold out. Not surprised at all, because for characters like this, number 1 Honkai Stariel and number 2 kind of edgy pose like this, right? Combined with a studio that I have a lot of respect today, Alice21 Studio, this is looking very good. I mean, yeah, different angle. Of course, this is different angle compared to this photograph over here, but I can see the resemblance very easily. I think they did a great job over here. And as for the detail paintwork over here, well, shading is a little bit lacking. Can see a bit of it actually. This is not a very clear photograph, can see a bit of it, but overall, I would be very pleased if I pre-ordered or purchased this one. Yeah, this is amazing. And yes, she comes with two faceplates, this angry faceplate and also the one you saw earlier on OSGK's website, this one. I prefer this faceplate actually, but both are great. What caught my attention with Alice21 Studio wasn't their Honkai figures, it was their Zenless Zone Zero figures. Their very first release, Nico Demara, that already wowed me, like, oh, this is good. And the reason why you would want that figure is because of the ATOPOS and options that you couldn't find with the genuine figures. Okay, moving on to the next one, Alice21 Studio as well. I just wanted to show you guys their work over here. This is Corinne Wickers, right, from Zenless Zone Zero. Look at the face, the crying face. Oh, very well executed. That is amazing. This is pretty much identical to the official product pictures I saw back then. If you want one once again, finding one in stock today can be difficult. That is the case with most third-party resins. You might have better chances over at Taobao, but you know, buying resin figures from Taobao can be tricky. Number one is that because you go through a proxy agent, right? The problem with resin figures is that if they arrive broken, usually they will compensate you a small amount of money, and that is you successfully negotiate with those Taobao sellers. Otherwise, it is very difficult to even attempt to return the item. Most of the time, it is impossible. So that is one thing to bear in mind if you want to try getting third-party resin figures from Taobao. You can, but you will be taking a certain amount of risk. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, we have more pictures over here. Yeah, I wanted to see the details on her hairband and everything. I think it looks good. Yeah, everything looks fine over here. No complaints. Man, the more I see the pictures, the more I want it. Speaking of Zenless Zone Zero, I did not mention any figures from that series in my recent 2025 wishlist video. I think it is an oversight. I have 3 of the Apex Toys figures in my wishlist, but the want factor is not that high yet. We'll see. Okay, more pictures over here. Yeah, Alice21 Studio, they give us additional faceplates if you buy the deluxe version especially. This is great, but obviously the crying faceplate is way better, right? Depending on whether you are a sadist or not. For me, I'm kind of a bit mild one. Okay, moving on to the next one, Arctic Wolf Studio, where I have heard rumors that the boss of this studio has fled overseas. He has fled China. That is the rumors I heard. I couldn't verify it, alright? Anyways, this studio is still active, very active, and they are doing a great work as usual. Look at the face of this figure. This is identical to the product pictures once again. Arctic Wolf Studio figures, they are actually very easy to find in Taobao. Very easy to find. Yeah, it seems like they manufacture a lot, but if you don't want to take the risk over there, you know, you can always email OSGK, send them the link to this particular item in their website and ask, can you get your hands on this figure for me? Like, I know it is sold out, but is it possible to procure one? Maybe you have to pay a little bit of an extra premium on it because of aftermarket pricing. But yeah, you can ask them for that. So this is Runmei from Honkai Star Rail. Arctic Wolf Studio, as usual. I haven't purchased a single figure from them yet, but it is just a matter of time at this point. Yeah, the gold trims are nicely painted. No paint bleeding, no scratches I'm seeing over here. Okay, moving on to the next one from ATOPOS Studio. This is more like work in progress in manufacturing. We have Makima from Chainsaw Man. This is the realistic faceplate, and I can't help but feel impressed by the makeup over here they've done to this faceplate. Very nice, very detailed. Not the kind of figure that I would normally like want badly, but I just can appreciate the amount of work that went into making her face look great over here. It looks like real human makeup, isn't it? So this is the actual product picture, and this is the faceplate. So what do you think? Do they look identical enough? Quite close. It is quite close, but it is hard to tell without that front hairpiece on. Sometimes a slightly different hairpiece can make a face look different. Yeah, so this is too early to tell, but looking good so far. Okay, 1x4 scale, by the way. Moving on to the next one. Alright, we have BC Studio's 1x6 scale Asuma Toki from Blue Archive. This thing is so sold out that if you are just starting to look for one today, don't get your hopes up. You won't find it. Maybe at aftermarket prices, yes, but please don't, right? Just pre-order the one by Max Factory, the 1x7 scale PVC figure. That is what I did, by the way. Okay, so this one is almost identical as the official artwork back then. And if not mistaken, this looks very familiar to one of the garage kits, like OneFest Special or Limited, something along those lines. It looks very familiar. And if you told me this figure is like a recast, a knockoff of the OneFest Limited GK that has 100 or 200 copies only, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, they did an excellent work over here with this figure. The same thing can be said for BC Studios, what's the name again? The FGO character. Raiko. I think it's Raiko, right? They did a recast, sort of the Raiko figure from this OneFest Limited version, and they did a fabulous job. And if my memory serves me correct, this could be the same case all over again. So indirectly, you can accuse this figure or this brand of bootlegging a genuine product. Of course, I can't verify anything over here other than my very hazy memory over here. Regardless, what I'm doing over here is just showing you pictures of figures from this particular studio, what their quality is like, and then you'll make your own decision whether to get it or not. But for this figure, if it is sold out, I would say just give up on it. Just give up, right? Not worth paying aftermarket prices for her. This is a plain bunny figure, as you can see. Blue bunny figure. Overall, great QC. You can see some shading over here where they make her stockings appear to be slightly translucent because it has been stretched thin over here. This is nice. And the hair looks pretty clean. Yeah. So no problems over here. Moving on to the next one from Beast Studio with Asuna Ichinose from Blue Archive. Okay, so the censorship wasn't done by me. It was done by OSGK, by the way, because they posted it on Facebook as well. Alright, this one over here, I want your opinion. Now you take a look at this picture. This is the actual product. And this would be the product pictures that was promised to us when the figure went on pre-order. What do you think? Let's put it side by side if I can. Yep, side by side. What do you think? I think they did a fabulous job over here. Yes, quite identical. Of course, you can see some small differences, but that is mostly down to lighting. That's the number one thing. Number two thing is that, yeah, I think the leaves on the leaves and this hairpin on over here is a little bit different, but once again, I can't be sure if that is because of lighting. I think it is most likely lighting. So it looks a little bit different in color, right? The light on the left picture is quite bright, actually, too bright. So fabulous work, B Studio. Nicely done over here. Alright, and then do I have any other pictures? Yeah, this is just zoomed out picture. Okay, moving on to the next one from HeRa Studio. They are known for their chibi figures, by the way. This is Hu Tao's cute version from Genshin Impact. So with cute version figures or Nandroid-like figures, as I call them, these third parties, they tend to charge a lot. $99, the average, $99, sometimes a bit higher or lesser, but they tend to turn out very well. Yeah, so this Hu Tao looks really good, right? This looks amazing. And $100, yeah. Depending on whether you value the size of a figure a lot or not. Some people, they love 1x4 scale because to them, size is everything. Then they won't appreciate smaller figures like this. But for those of us who like tiny stuff but highly detailed, this is nice work from HeRa Studio. Moving on to the next one, we have DT Studio and UME Studio. They are famous for their realistic takes on anime and game characters. And they are mostly 1x4 scale. I think they almost exclusively do 1x4 scale. And DT UME Studio figures, they are also kind of easy to come across in Taobao. And for a character like Saber, if you could find someone in stock over there, I wouldn't be surprised actually. Not something I would get because, no, I'm not touching realistic face figures. Maybe accept characters like 2B from Nier Automata because they are kind of like semi-realistic, you know? Depending on the artist, sometimes it looks a little bit more anime-ish or more realistic-ish, somewhere in between. For that kind of characters, I'm okay with buying a realistic one. For Saber, not so much. Okay, so this is a hyper-detailed figure for sure at 1/4 scale, and this should be around $500-600. That is for the basic version. If you buy the deluxe one that comes with other versions included in the box, they are $800 at least. Okay, yeah, this is the B version where she is in a dress. This is something either you like or hate, right? Subjective. So I don't want to go on and ranting about the face anymore. This is all down to personal preference. All I can say is they tend to do a very good job with their 1/4 scale figures. Nothing much to complain. Oh, I love the base though. Yeah. And yes, there is the Saber Outer version behind there. Same exact pose, but just different color. There you go. So which color do you prefer? I actually prefer the one in the middle, the lighter one. I think it looks more striking in a way, for some reason. Okay, and this is a close-up pic of the armor version. This is beautiful. I'm not complaining about it from that artistic aspect of this figure. It looks really nice. Wow, I saved so many pictures, maybe because it is Saber. Alright, moving on to the next one from Echo Studio. We have The Legend of Zelda, Princess Zelda. That actually looks great, isn't it? I'm actually focusing on the details on her outfit. I know that her eyes look kind of dead over here, like lifeless, I know, but this is mostly lighting, like certain kinds of paint, when you shine light from different angle, then it does not reflect any light at all, then it looks kind of dead over here. Yeah, there are details in the middle, as you can see, the iris and everything is there, just that the angle makes it look really dark. Oh, yeah, same figure. Wow. Steampunk aesthetic, I actually like it by the way. And you look at the way they painted it, it is so precise, man. You don't see paint bleeding. You don't see much of it. Very nice. Oh. Zelda is one of those series where buying third party might be the better idea because genuine figures, there are not much choices out there to begin with. Are there cheap figures like pop-up rates? I can't remember, but pop-up rates are low detail stuff, so here we go. Something quite outstanding, I would say. Moving on. Okay, more pictures. The figure must have been so good for me to save multiple pictures. Yeah, this is the most I can zoom in. The picture is kind of blurry. And this was, yeah, the official product pictures provided to us. I wanted to see the eyes actually. You see, the eyes here is brighter. It is more obvious, but in those product pictures, it looks a little bit dark, but I wouldn't judge too early. I want to find more user pictures of her face. Okay, moving on to the next one from Fallen Angel Studio. Again, right? Almost every episode, they are in the limelight for better or worse reasons, but this time around, they seemed to have done an excellent job on this figure of Shihorin Yoichi from Bleach. Realistic face, but man, this is pretty. This is outstanding. Let's hope the figure does not explode. To be fair to them, right? To be fair to FA Studio, I don't expect them to repeat the same mistake again. Yeah. So that is more like, yeah, their albedo figure exploding back then a few months ago last year. That was most likely involving a certain batch. Yeah, where there are manufacturing errors. I know this look like high quality product pictures coming from skilled photographer, but these are actual final product pictures, right? Okay. Very nice, man. And the skin tone is just nice. Like, there's a slight tan to it, but with shading all around and wow. Now this kind of paint work on the hair, my kind of thing. But maybe it is because it is purple. Man, I don't collect shonen stuff, but this thing has piqued my interest quite a bit over here. Okay, moving on to the next one from GG Studio. They are actually doing amazing work with One Piece figures. This one went on pre-order just a few months ago actually, and I really wanted to show you guys the final product because they done an amazing work over here. There are two different color versions of this Nami figure. This is identical, exactly the same as what was being promised in the product pics back then. And this glossy pearl-like paint, nice, I like it. Yeah, there we go, the second color version. So which one do you prefer? I actually like the color on this outfit a lot more, maybe because it is so shiny, but I prefer the original hair color. This was pretty cheap, if I remembered correctly, like $150. Yeah, it was pretty cheap for a 1x6 scale figure. There we go, they are quite tall actually. In the end, if I had to choose one, I'll choose the original color, the one where she has blonde hair. But this is nice results coming from GG Studios. Right, moving on to the next one. Okay, this is coming from one of OSGK's admins over at Facebook. Okay, this is regarding HeRa Studio. So one of you commented in my previous video asking about HeRa Studio. What do I think about this brand? Like, there are barely any user pictures of this or figures from this brand online, right? Okay, so what is happening over here? HeRa Studio is trying to maintain a very high level of QC on their figures, and there are a few of them that got delayed by a few months because of the China thing happening over there, right? So they had to make modifications on some of the figures, but mostly for domestic market only. But to save you the trouble of reading the whole thing, basically, domestic China collectors won't get the XXX, but if they pre-ordered for it, contact their sellers for a refund, or maybe later on, you know, they just top up a little bit less when the figure does come out. So figures like this, Firefly, and then Jinsi from Wuwa, I call it Wuwa, Wudoing Waves, and that Akiron over there from Honkai Star, there is a slight delay, but international customers are not affected. If you wanted those cultured parts, you're getting it. That's what they are saying. Okay, so for me, I am very interested in Jinsi from Wuwa. Yes, I think this looks amazing. This almost looks like the perfect Jinsi figure out there. You have a nice main figure and then the dragon over there, and the base does not seem to take up too much space. So if you ask me whether I can trust HeRa Studio or not, too early to give you a definite answer, but I myself am very interested. Yeah, that is my answer over here. And even the Akiron looks amazing as well. In my opinion, if a resin figure company, they keeps their customers updated, they keep posting updates, if there are any changes, they mention it, and then all these things, as long they keep you well updated, I think you can trust the brand to a certain extent, because the very same brands, they will post pictures of their work in progress, factory pictures in general, and then you get to see the face of the figure itself before you even have to pay for it. So for studios like this, in general, I would have no problems trusting them, just that it is really hard to get my hands on pictures like this. They usually circle around Weibo, which is China's version of Twitter, where most third-party resin figure brands will have an account over there, a profile over there. Some do have profiles in Twitter, but not all of them do. That is when you look at Weibo, right? I have a Weibo account, but it is very dead, like I never touch it. I made it many years ago. And then, before I move on to this figure of Frieren, a quick mention about Dodomo Studio. I don't have any Dodomo Studio figures for today's episode. Yes, Dodomo Studio and NiPiPi Studio badly hit by the raid thing by authorities in China. And there are people saying that they are not replying to messages over in Twitter, and they are even deleting posts, right? So I would like to address that. I don't have an exact answer to it. I've asked like 3 figure stores, not just OSGK. I even messaged other stores that I don't buy from. They gave me the same answer, saying that these 2 companies, Dodomo and NiPiPi Studio, they are still active, just that their figures are like indefinitely delayed, some by 6 months to a year, because of what happened in China. And otherwise mentioned, no, they are not shutting down. Even though people are saying they might be shutting down because, you know, they don't reply to messages anymore, I'm more inclined to believe that they don't reply because there are way too many of them. That's number 1. And number 2, as for the reason why they are deleting posts on social media, because whatever you do, if you post it on the internet, there is a certain amount of consequences to it, right? Like if you do something stupid, or you're actually breaking the law, and then you post it online, of course, it is going to be used as an evidence against you in the court, if you get caught later. So, it wouldn't surprise me that they are deleting posts of figures that Yeah, the ones that has sculptured parts. The one they post openly on Twitter without any censorship because Twitter allows those kind of pictures. So imagine the police opening your profile and say, there you go, this product that you are selling, it looks like this, it is illegal. So they're just burying the evidence by deleting posts. That is what I'm suspecting over here. Yeah. Of course, if you want to cancel a pre-order, that is up to you. For me, I have 2 NiPiPi figures on pre-order. NiPiPi Studio, a branch of Dodomo Studio, which is one blue archive character. What was her name again? I think Ichika, is it? Was it Ichika? Can't remember. Anyways, and one Hu Tao figure. So both of those figures are stuck in limbo. So it is not like I don't understand you guys either. Even myself am affected. Okay, and moving on to this figure of HeRa Studio over here. Okay, HeRa Studio, their Violet Evergarden caught my eye. And here we have 2 Frieren figures from the very same company. Okay, this one over here, I'm not that big of a fan because the figure is very plain and simple. But this is a 1/4, I believe. It looks quite big to be a 1/6, right? And her face is okay. It is very accurate. It looks almost like what we see in the anime. So the sculpt is not the problem over here. The problem is that no, it looks like she is staring into blank space and not a very attractive figure overall. But this next version over here, man, this is outstanding. This is by HeRa Studio as well. Oh, this is amazing. Wow, look at that base over there. Man, I'm not even a big fan of Frieren. But sometimes I see pictures like this, it makes me want them. And yeah, there is a staff over there on her hand. They did not put it over here. This is excellent work from HeRa Studio. So if you pre-ordered their Violet Evergarden, yeah, be excited about it when it does come out. There we go. This is the head sculpt they are showing us from the factory. That is beautiful, right? Okay, moving on. Wow, more pictures. Alright. Okay, moving on to the next one, Hui Xiang Studio. This is also a brand that I'm paying attention to. They are quite new actually. I don't have very close-up pictures over here, unfortunately, but from a distance, I can see that the face turns out fine. Let me check and see. Man, that that dresser desk over there with the mirrors that can be opened, that is beautiful. I want it, especially if it is 1/6 scale. Oh, I do have a close-up pic. Alright, I can't remember, see? So this is nicely done. Very nicely done. And man, her arm over here really caught my attention. In fact, I think her prosthetic hand here is the best part about the figure rather than the face, even though there's nothing wrong with the face, you know. Very heavy shading, as you can see. Yeah, the middle here is brighter, and then we have heavy tinge of orange, beige over here. Nicely done. No complaints at all, other than, yeah, this is a plain outfit, but very nice. Oh. Okay, so this picture is important. What does it tell us, right? No, it does not tell us that the quality of the hair is high or detailed. What it tells us is that they actually bothered to put a high quality mirror into an anime figure. If you go to a thrift store, like in my country, in Malaysia, it would be Mr. DIY, a thrift store, and then look at those mirrors, right? Cosmetic mirrors that cost like the equivalent of $1 to $2 only, very cheap. And then I'll take a look. The mirrors are kind of blurry, like not very clear. The clarity is poor actually, unless you buy something more expensive. And that is common even in anime figures that comes with props that involve a mirror. But in this case, this is a very high quality mirror, right? And that tells us that they are actually not cutting corners much on the quality part. I really appreciate this photograph over here. Okay, and more detailed pics. Look at the toenails over there, man. Oh, we even have the pink layer and the white layer. This has to be 1/4 scale. I'm not sure if they can pull this off in 1/6. Maybe they can, and I'm underestimating them, but this level of detail. Moving up next, Hun Yu Studio or Hun Yu Studio. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Okay, I've covered them a couple of times before. They were involved in dramas in the past, like bad customer service, things like that for QC issues, but that was one of their previous releases way back last year. Was it Chi-Chi? Yeah, from Honkai. I can't remember. I think it was Chi-Chi where there were bad seam lines on the figure, but that was on the back of the figure, not the front. This time around, we have sparkle over here from Honkai Studio, and the Chinese words above. What it is saying that this is actual final product pictures, but they are not professionally taken. These are taken with smartphones. So if they look bad, factor that in, right? In my opinion, they look great, right? Maybe because I can tell, like, even with a lower quality camera, I can tell if there is distortion in the face because of camera lens or because of actual bad sculpt. I can kind of tell. So in my opinion, based on lower quality smartphone pictures over here, they did a great job with the face over here. This is quite nice. I think she will look even better if you rotate the figure a little bit. Yeah, look at her from this angle a little bit more, then the eyes will look even better, but this is nice already. Gradient work on her hair, and then very precise paint work on her chest armor as well. Yeah, these gold color trims, I always look for them because that is where a lot of figure companies mess up. Looks fine over here. So don't look forward if you pre-ordered one. Yeah, this is the Fox mask. No problems at all. It is out of focus. The red color region here is almost out of focus because they are focusing on her face. I think they should have focused on the mask over here to show us the paint work, right? Anyways, looks fine to me. Looks great. And the back of the figure, this time around, no ugly seam lines, right? So, for example, this lower piece of underwear over here and the leg, they are two separate parts. They have to join them together. If the parts are badly made, you'll see a gap over there. None of that over here. Yeah, nicely done. Here as well, the arm, separate part, very obvious. So that is also why you see a lot of edgy figures, right? The ones that you can remove the clothes completely. Sometimes you see a silver or black coloring around the arm or the leg. That's the reason. That is where the separate parts meet actually. Okay, moving on. Wow, more pictures. So I think this figure is a perfect example of even if a figure company does mess up once or twice, it does not mean that they'll repeat the mistake again. Yeah, but only time will tell how consistent they are. Okay, moving on to the next one from Imagination Studio. This is work in progress, not final yet. From what I've read, there are still additional coatings to do, to apply on the figure actually. This is Firefly from Honkai Studio, and she is looking fabulous AF. Did I pre-order one? I did not because I felt poor. But I want it. Yes, I want it. I mean, if I had spare budget and it is in stock, I'll try to get my hands on one because she comes with this mecha over here. Still unpainted, as you can see. This is in primer coat, but if I'm not mistaken, this is like $500. You see, I just couldn't put down a pre-order on something that cost that much without thinking twice, right? Yeah. So, Firefly will be in the middle and then this thing will be behind her. Very nice actually. And this is the figure in painting process. I would have mistaken this as Ayanami Rei from Evangelion. Moving on to the next one. This is also work in progress. Imagination Studio. Yup. On the top here, it is saying that they have not applied a clear PU coating on the figure yet. Yeah, clear coating, presumably to protect the figure and to make it look even shinier perhaps. Interesting that they're using polyurethane coating. Yeah, not the super clear or Tamiya kind of clear coat we use on PVC figures. They're using a different kind of coating for resin figures. But as long as the final result looks fine and it protects the figure itself, I have no complaints at all. Yeah, I remember this figure, this Yaemiko figure over here, 1x6, but given the size of this thing, it is like $500 plus. Looking great so far. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is a very low resolution image. So Jigenworld Studio is in a little bit of trouble, but they are taking responsibility for it. That is actually great. Okay, this is Genshin Impact Keqing. She comes with, as a set with Ganyu. Actually, Ganyu, they have not showed us any pictures yet, not ready yet. This is Keqing. No complaints about her face at all. I think it looks great over here, right? And overall, this is like a mid-level figure, not very detailed. The shading is nearly absent, but once again, I don't think this is complete yet. Yeah, so I wouldn't judge too early, but at least I know that the face is okay. That is what we always worry about. Is it a face not turning out as promised? Alright, more pictures over here. Yeah, this figure could make do with a little bit of shading on her main outfit, like these folds on her apron over here. Just take a look at how genuine PVC figure brands do. Those folds can do some grey color or some color shading, doesn't matter. Blue or purple, it works as well. Okay, so this is the problem with Jigenworld Studio at the moment. Their runway from Honkai Star Rail version B. There are two different versions. Don't panic yet. Don't cancel the pre-order yet if you did pre-order. So Jigenworld Studio has made an announcement recently. I think it was in Weibo, and then they passed the message over to the Facebook group I'm in. They have recalled all of the runway version B figures over here for manufacturing defects. So there will be a delay. I think they have to remake everything at this point. Yeah, this is not something you can just patch up very easily. But what is weird is that this is the kind of defect that you would notice on the prototype itself, right? Coming off the casting, the casting machine, or even a 3D printer, depending on what method they're using, right? So they place a sticker over here. Look at that huge gap over there where the parts are not fitting properly, right? Okay, so this is happening over the entire figure actually. More pictures over here. The other side, as you can see, this big gap over here. The sad part is that this is the kind of thing that actually happens to even genuine anime figures from Japan. And sometimes they just sell the figure, they don't care. Yeah, at least they are doing something about it over here. Yeah, but here we have a chipped part. So what happens is that sometimes the resin part is way too thin, and then it is too brittle, it chipped off during painting or doing some specific process, right? This is chipping. So why does this happen? Because the part is too thin, right? That is part of it. But what you need to know about resin is that every single brand, they have a different setting time, different settings on the 3D printer or in your casting process. And there is a range of how many seconds or minutes for the material to set when you expose uncured resin to blue light, to UV light to make it set, right? And you cannot undercure or overcure. You cannot exceed that range on either side. If you undercure it, it is not cured enough. What happens is that what happened to FA Studios, Albedo back then, there are materials that are not yet set, liquid material inside, and then it creates problems later like explosions or cracking in the material. At the same time, if you overcure it, you need 10 seconds to cure a single layer. You put 15 or 20 seconds because you wanted to be sure the material actually hardens. That is also a bad idea, because if you overcure resin, it becomes more brittle. Yes, it is fully cured. It is usable, but it is more brittle. It will break more easily, especially thin parts like this will chip off very easily. So resin is, yeah, it is like that. And I'm speaking from experience because I have 3D printers in my studio where I work with resin as well. And I haven't been very good at it either. I have overcured stuff. That is how I know actually. Okay, moving on to the next one here. More pictures. This is not, this is more to paint work. You see? I actually respect Jigenworld Studio for this. This is not a manufacturing defect rather than a paint defect. Like, there is a little bit of paint transfer. The painting is not precise enough, but that is not acceptable to them, so they circled it to show it to us. This is something Fats company will have passed off as okay for sale. Yeah. Okay, next picture over here. This is the hair strand that has to attach to the desk. Yeah, a gap once again. Parts are not fitting. So yeah, here you go. Delay notice for Jigenworld Studio Honkai Style Runway version B and blah blah blah. I'm showing you the pictures. So why does the part end up not fitting? Once again, curing, right? Over curing a resin part can lead to excessive shrinkage of the resin material, and that is when the parts begin to not fit properly. Part A, part B supposed to fit nicely like this, and then there is shrinkage because of over curing like I mentioned earlier. So it shrinks in like that. You get a gap on top, right? Get a gap between two parts. So this is most likely over curing. And the weird part is, once again, they should have discovered this during the primer layer. They don't have to wait until after they finish painting the figure before this happens. Okay, moving on to the next one, HeRa Studio. I've never heard of them actually. Maybe because they make stuff that I'm not interested in, so I don't pay attention. Attack on Titans, we have Levi over here, and then who's this dude? I don't remember his name. And Mikasa. Wow. No close-up pictures, this is all I have. But in general, with AOT characters, I've yet to see a single third-party figure brand mess up their figures. Like, for some reason, maybe their face are easy to sculpt and paint. Maybe it is that. Some characters are harder to do than others when it comes to their facial features, but apparently not Attack on Titan characters, right? Every single one of them seem to do well, so this is all down to whether you like the pose and design or not. Okay, oh, here we have Armin as well. Looks fine, isn't it? Yeah. So I have no complaints over here. Okay, moving on to the next one, Karasu Studio. I think this one caught my attention back then when I did figure news fix, because this was quite a detailed figure. What's her name? Joseon Kamo from JJK, yep. This is turning out identical to the promo pics as well. In general, right, shonen stuff, shonen anime stuff, they tend to execute it perfectly for some reason. Okay. Moving on to the next one, KOD Studio. KOD Studio, Honkai. Style again, March 7th. I know that most of you watching this will be waiting for the one by Apex Lois, myself included. I pre-ordered it. So this one is going to appear less attractive. But if you are a hardcore fan of her, you want multiple figures of her, maybe you can consider it. She turns out fine over here. Yeah, you can actually undress her, or is this a version B, and put cloth fabric on the figure. Wow. The pink color dots are so perky that I had to cover it up. Yeah, YouTube does not allow that as well. But anyways, the face is turning out fine. This is actual product pic, by the way. No problems at all, I'm saying. Moving on to the next one from LAMZC Studio, right? LAMZC, we have Gintama Kagura. More like Gintama set. Okay. Unfortunately, the pictures are not very clear over here. Next picture. Yeah, looks fine enough. And from what I remembered, this wasn't that expensive, despite two figures and that big base over there. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now I'm starting to remember what happened last year. So this is from HUI Studio, same Firefly and Sam from Honkai Star Rail. This is not official product pic. This is actual finished product pic, right? It looks nice because it is professionally taken, but we can still learn a lot from these pictures over here. And this is rough, like between this version and the Imagination Studio version, this one is a little bit smaller from the looks of it. Like the Imagination Studio one is so huge, right? So maybe I'll settle for this one if I buy one, right? I mean, I have reviewed two Imagination Studio figures so far, but I haven't reviewed anything from HUI Studio, so if I get one, ideally I should be getting this one. Both went on pre-order within the same week back then, and now both are releasing around the same time. Very nice. Okay, so not much delays over here. I want to see the face. Instead, the outfit is catching my attention instead of the face. The face is great, no problems. It can look a little bit different from other angles. You're supposed to look at this figure from the front, right, from the center, but very pretty. I'm actually very interested. Yeah, the more I zoom in, the blurrier it gets. So what do you think? Imagination Studio earlier or this one is good enough? I think Imagination Studio did her face a little bit better, right? Yeah, it feels that way to me. Like there is some secret sauce over there that Imagination Studio did a little bit better, but it is not like this is a bad figure, not at all. I saved so many pics. I think it is probably the face expression. Yeah, where Imagination Studio has did a little bit better. I saved so many pics, man. Oh, this angle looks great. She looks great from this angle. See, it is all a viewing angle problem. Alright. Oh, wow. Damn. I like sci-fi, so this is right up my alley, you know. Okay, moving on to the next one. Wow! MJ Studio Nami from One Piece. Because there are so many One Piece fans out there, right? So, I suppose I'm not too surprised that they made so many. This is very dark, this picture over here. Okay, we have nicer picture. Ho ho. Look at the armor, right? And the face. Nice work from MJ Studio. This is turning out fabulous. Most of the time, I rarely see bad One Piece figures. There were rare exceptions, but those are rare to begin with. From OZ Production Studio, we have One Punch Man Tatsumaki. Yeah, Dodomo Studio has one coming as well, right? I don't know how long is that delayed, but that is supposed to be near completion. Yeah, the last time I saw, they have already painted most of the parts. Okay, nice face, nice face. I would appreciate a little bit more detailing around the edges of her hair strands, you know, like some weathering over there. But this is good. This is still good. Yeah, from this angle, she looks amazing, man. Alright, moving up next, Pepeho Studio, we have Texas from Arknights. You know what is funny? Before this resin figure even came out, the bootleg already existed in Taobao for the past few months since last year. And the bootlegs were going for like $15. Yes, 15. They were terrible. I saw the actual pictures of the actual product. They were terrible. Please don't bother, even though it is $15 only. This Pepeho Studio Texas wasn't that expensive to begin with, if I remembered. I think it was like $150 or less than that, because this is quite a simple figure. And they have did a great job with the face over here as well. Yeah, no complaints from me. Okay. Once again, it wasn't me who censored these pictures, it was OSGK themselves. Because social media and their AI algorithms, annoying AF, that sometimes you get false red flags. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, from Pink Peaches Studio, we have Yae Miko from Genshin Impact. I remember this one very well, yeah. Yae Miko in Chinese dress and realistic face. People who love those kind of Chinese MMORPG games and manhwas, they will prefer stuff like this, not me. And this is obviously 1.4, right? Yeah, it is 1.4. The Chinese dress is kind of plain though. But who knows, maybe this is a $300 or $350 1x4 scale, which is on the low side of pricing. Yeah. I'm not that big of a fan of her face actually. Speaking of realistic faces, that Ultra Pendragon earlier by DT UME Studio, that one was beautiful. And the Makima, yeah, the one that was work in progress, that was beautiful. This one feels a little bit more like a slight downgrade over that in a way. Maybe it is the level of makeup, how many layers they did, just like real women, real people in general. Okay, moving on to the next one, from PoFang Studio, Jewelry Bonnie, alright, from One Piece as well. This one, I can only show the face for very obvious reasons, or maybe a side view, yeah. When you have a prisoner that is so hot and pretty, of course you are not going to do nothing, right? I mean, that was the case back then, maybe in the 15th, 16th century, but anyway, this is the face over here. This is a small figure. If I remembered correctly, this wasn't even 1.6. This was 1.7 to 1.8. Yeah, but it was quite affordable at the same time. Face-wise, no problem at all. Moving on to the next one. I remember this one very well. Pepeho Studios Racing Raiden Shogun. Realistic face, 1x4 scale, around $500 if I remembered correctly. Only one picture, unfortunately. I think Racing Queen figures, right, they are nice initially when you buy your first 3 figures, and then when you buy a few more, they start feeling boring. That is my experience. So I only have 2 Race Queen figures, or 3. 2 from Fate series and 1 is Hatsune Miku. Moving on to the next one, this is not that nice. PW Studio Frieren. This is a very simple figure. If you told me this was like $120, $130, I wouldn't be surprised. She is just in a like semi-translucent dress. And yeah, the pink dots on her chest are probably visible over here, which is why they covered it. Compared to the one earlier, the free one earlier by HeRa Studio, is night and day different, isn't it? Yeah, very different. Different price points though, not directly comparable. At the same time, the HeRa Studio one is way more expensive. This looks very cheap in comparison. Like, I think this was $130 or so. Yeah, maybe even cheaper. I can't remember anymore because I do figure news every week. So many things to remember. And this is the base. The base is actually nice. They put in so much effort into the base over here. Moving up next from SC Studio, we have Genshin Impact Nahida. And you know what? When this figure went on pre-order last year, I actually wasn't very impressed. Like, it was just meh. It was average, you know. And then it pre-order sold out anyways because there are a lot of dry people who think lolly is justice. I'm one of them. And then now the final figure is out over here. She turns out way better than I expected, if I have to be honest with you guys. Like, oh, the gloss paint work on her chest over there with the two perky pink dots. Oh, I mean, it looks more detailed than I initially expected. Not to say I want to do all kind of things to the figure if I get my hands on. Not that. What I'm saying is that it turns out way more detailed than I expected. Right? So this is very nice. Moving up next, we have SGD Studio, Singapore Dollar Studio. Yeah, to be from Nier Automata. This appears to be a seamless action figure to me. It looks like one to me, you know, that stand over there. Very common with action figures. Yeah, I think it is. Not to mention, you can dress them up in different color outfits. Can't see the face, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't have pictures of the face. Looking fine, at least. Okay, moving up next, we have Stigmatas Studio, a brand that actually had a lot of interest on as well. This is their A-Gear from Azalane, and boy, whoo, this is so good. It couldn't get any better than this. This is so good. Man. You know, my wallet is already struggling with genuine PVC figures, and then you show me stuff like this and make me want them. Stigmatas Studio. Wow. Man, this is beautiful. I kind of want one now, but despite knowing that I can't spare any extra budget for it, my January and February are kind of heavy. February not that heavy yet, but I need to go back to buying FGO figures. I bought only one last year, you know. Long backlog. This is their factory. I know the picture looks very professional, but this is final product pictures, right? This is not the pics that they show you when they take pre-order. It is the actual final product, just that they have a very good photographer for it. Okay, yeah, they have two versions. There we go. I remember they have two versions, version A and version B. I still prefer this version actually. This one, I don't have any close-up pictures, unfortunately, not yet. But what is up with showing us a picture like this, like barely showing us the figure? Is this supposed to be just a teaser? Moving up next from Trieagles Studio, right? This is licensed resin figure, quite expensive stuff. But you know what? After seeing this figure of Alice from Nikkei, I'm starting to feel like my flare version is kind of trash, but you just can't compare like a $500 or $600 resin figure to a 1x7 scale PVC figure. The detail on this thing is next level, man. Yeah, the faces are a little bit different for sure, but I don't mind that. I think this is just as cute, and I also really like the face on the flare version. In fact, the face was why I bought it actually. And man, look at the details on her jacket over here, man. Maybe I should be selling pictures of me without any clothes on OnlyFans and hope that I can make some money over there to afford this thing. Yes, this is what I wanted to show you guys. Look at the... Wow. Wow. Damn. This is what money buys you, right? Okay. Hopefully this picture gives you some motivation to work harder and make more money. Moving on to the next one. Damn. Okay, so this is One Piece Luffy versus Dragon Kaido from Ventus Studio. Normally, I'm not interested in this kind of figures, but I saved a picture to show you guys because this is outstanding lighting. Like, yes, there is LED inside the translucent flame parts, and when you turn them on, they look beautiful. Though, personally, I wouldn't turn on all the time, right? I will only turn on lights in my figures, if any. If there are guests visiting my place, then yes. Otherwise, I would just turn them off. This puts Mega House to shame, man. But at the same time, I understand that they, the Japanese brands in general, they are very unwilling to make very high-end stuff that cost $500, $800 because, you know, it is hard to sell them. Obviously, very hard to sell. Okay, next one, WakuWaku Studio. This Anya over here, this is life-sized. So anyone of you have space for something like this in your room? I actually have such a space for my in my studio for one of these if I wanted, but why would I buy a 1x1 scale Anya? Because I hate children. I hate children that are unruly, to be exact. Okay. There you go. Comparison in size to that cup of drink over there. This is 1x1, I think. So paintwork shouldn't be an issue because there is so much margin for error when the figure is so big. Okay, WakuWaku Studio as well, Anya Forger Summer Festival version. And in general, Spy Family characters are the kind of characters where it is very easy to make their figures off, apparently, that I've never seen a single figure brand mess up their face. Be it genuine PVC figures or third-party resins or even prize figures. Yeah, even the prize figures are able to get their face done right. Okay, next one here, we are a design studio, Fruits Basket, Honda Tohru. Okay, Fruits Basket does not have many genuine figures out there. I nearly started watching the anime, like I tried watching it, including the older one from like 20 years ago. I just couldn't bring myself to continue. It felt a little bit boring, you know. Nice paintwork on the hair, man. Wow. How many shades of brown are they using? But this is excellent paintwork for sure. Okay, this one is life-sized Tifa from Xing Studio. Yeah, life-size with the special feature that you already know what it is. So I'm saving this picture just to show you what the face looks like and you decide whether you like it or not. Okay, next one here we have XY Studio, Nami again. What is up with the body proportion? What the heck? It is like 120 over here and then the waist is like 40. What the hell? This is not nice. Just now the previous Nami figures I've covered so far are way better looking. This is just regular bikini figure. They still made that many because people are actually buying them. Yeah. Mostly because they are quite affordable, especially over in China. Okay, next one here from Yao MengMeng Studio. Yes, this Kafka I remember very well. When it went on pre-order last year, I was already kind of liking it actually. And this was like $170, $180, including a very detailed diorama base at 1x6 scale. Now that I get to see the actual product, the good part is the face. The face is spot on. Beautiful face. The one part that I don't like that much is that the hair, you know, it is like too flat. Just magenta purple all over. I mean, look at my review of Imagination Studio's Kafka and compare their hair color. That one is so much nicer done in terms of the paintwork on the hair. This is a little bit bland, but I'm not complaining about the face. The face is beautiful. In fact, I could even argue that the face over here is a little bit better than the Imagination Studio one. The Imagination Studio one was more of a stylized design. An artist with his or her own very custom design in a way. This one is closer to the actual character design in the game. Very nice. Just that I wish that the hair is better. Okay, I believe I saved more pictures over here. There we go. Right? That is not a bad base at all. I like the base. So let's look for texture on her outfit. Yes, there is texture. Once again, this is the kind of thing you don't see in PVC figures that much. So from far, it looks kind of meh, isn't it? And then you zoom in, you find details that you can't find on genuine PVC figures. No, it is not on the shirt, only on her pants, but this is nice. This is very similar to the real trousers I wear to work as well, the texture. Okay, here we have ZH Studio and Anya Forger cosplaying as a Naruto character, Uchiha, is it? This is nicely executed. Oh, this is very nice, isn't it? Man, it is turning out better than I expected. Especially this, you know, the pink color over here, very heavy shading. This is shading. This is not shadows from lighting because every single figure has exactly the same amount of shadows, which means it did not come from a light source. It is actual paintwork over here. If it was caused by the light from above, then every figure will have a slightly different shadow depending on the angle the light hit the figure. And that is all for today, episode 6 of which third-party resin figure brand is best. As you can see, barely any bad ones for today's episode. Can't say the same for the previous 1 or 2 episodes, but mostly great stuff. for today's episode, except for that recall by Jigenworld Studio. But it is a recall. They are going to remake the whole thing. I don't know how much money they're going to lose from that, but yeah. So until then, are there any figures over here that you pre-ordered, or you kind of want one but it might be a little bit late to find one now? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, if you found this video to be informative and helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again and goodbye.